When Mom came racing down the stairs to smell this plant that's supposed to smell like bread, but Mama's got allergies, and her head is all stuffed up, and she smells absolutely nothing. So they leave it alone. A few days later, of course, Odetta's back out in the garden, and this time she's pulling strawberries when this tree that smells like pepperoni begins to pop. Mama comes flying down the back steps. They get to this bush, and sure enough, there are 7 different flowers that represent the 7 colors of the star-shaped seed, and now these flowers in the middle have a miniature pizza, low-fat cheese pizza. Am I teaching a lesson?
Absolutely. And
there it goes. And so it evolved from the fact that my kids said, why can't we have a pizza tree? So with creative imagination, we came up with the story, or I came up with the story, The Pizza Tree. And so, of course, they pulled the pizza, and Mama wants to know, what are we going to do with all of this pizza? Here's the other lesson. Odetta says, Mom, that's easy. Let's have a pizza party. So they invited all the neighbors to the pizza party so they could eat from the pizza tree. And guess what? The neighbors had fantastic manners. They said, please, may I have another slice? Oh, thank you so very much. This is delicious. They helped with the cleanup, and everyone said, thank you, as they left talking about that fabulous pizza tree seed.
Wow. So you talked about the fabulous pizza tree seed and everything. That's just incredible that they were able to have this pizza tree seed.
Of course. And, of course, it was all about giving. So when it happens again, this time they invite everybody that has that's at the they were at the local food bank, and there were people there that didn't have enough food. So they invited everyone at the local food bank and any other program that was serving free food, invited them all, and guess what? They came, and they, too, had good manners, and they, too, said please and thank you, and they, too, cleaned up. And in the end, the last time the tree sprouted, there were no pizza, but lots and lots of seeds. So Odetta's mom wanted to know, what are we going to do with all of these seeds? And Odetta said, Mom, I bet anyone who ate from the pizza tree would be willing to send a few seeds all over the world. Because I was at the local library, and I read that there were countries that had people who were starving because there wasn't enough food to eat. So in this one story, we've covered quite a few elements that are basic needs that could be used for the rest of their life, all of their life, and anybody can benefit from good manners, sharing, caring, eating good food, planting seeds, traveling, and you do that when you read a book.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I just finished, I was talking earlier to Dean about the Full Frame Festival, and one of the films was about Mr. Rogers, who did some great storytelling and all of that, and he definitely was probably one of the most or earlier people that did a lot of inclusiveness in his cast of characters. I mean, he had a black police officer, which was kind of rare at the time that he was starting and everything. So I was just wondering, do you think that we're doing a good enough job, because you're also an educator and also an artist, you're a quilter and everything, but do you think that we're doing a good enough job in terms of getting our kids to understand inclusiveness and actually being inclusive? Because I sometimes wonder about like you said, the children's stories that even they're reading in school. Sometimes they're kind of like are telling a twisted version of history that's not quite true, and they're not incorporating, like, say, our native population or even our graduate Muslim population and things of that nature. So I was just wondering, as an educator yourself, and you're more of a grassroots kind of educator, how do you think we're doing in terms of actually getting all of our inclusiveness? Because I know, like I said, the show that you had, which I forget which channel it was on, but definitely those kids were all kinds of cultures. I remember seeing like an Asian kid, and I think there were a couple of Hispanic kids, definitely some brothers and sisters in the mix, and some white kids, and just a variety of kids that were involved.
Yes. And that's true. And the show is still running, as a matter of fact. Smart Start Kids comes on Saturday mornings at WRAL, either Channel 3 or 5, depending on whether you have cable or not. And, yes, our main goal, thank you, Lee Wing, who's up in heaven, or maybe not, dealing with Lee Wing. Lee Wing had the idea of the inclusiveness, and she came looking for a host, and she found me. And I was honored because she had a list about 4 or 5 names, and after she took me to lunch and I was the first one that she interviewed, she dropped the list in the trash on the way out. She says, I think you'll be just the one I'm looking for. And we looked for diversity in our kids. As a matter of fact, every show had to have some diversity in the show because we want everyone involved. And the bottom line in reference to getting out with diversity, the stories from old or years past are almost all harmoniously Caucasian. But in the last 10, 15 years or so, we have more authors of color and ethnicities that are putting their versions of stories out there. And unfortunately, places like Scholastics are slow in bringing them out because they only select so many. But with self-publishing, you can get your own story out there. My story, The Pizza Tree, I self-published simply because I wanted the story out there. The next story I'm doing is The Bottom of the Sea. It's all about three simple components. Number one, if it's not yours, leave it alone. Number two, if you want something, be willing to ask for it or trade for it. Simple behaviors that we can teach in story, and it can include any and everybody.
Yeah, absolutely, because that's something that we definitely need to do. Now, Willa, I love your energy. I always do, and I definitely want you to stay on the line. But I think Dean said we had a couple more people, so I need to find out who else is on the line, because for the first hour it was just me and Dean, but now we've got bells ringing, so that's a good thing. You started a trend. So what we got going on, Dean?
Well, we do have Louisa from New York, and as soon as we knock out this promo real quick, she'll be right in.
All right.
This is Nikki Hall, founder of Simply Radiant LLC, a woman with great passion and skill to make you look and feel better. Meet me where you are. Let's take it to another level, a new you. See you soon. Call 919-971-6243. Make your place today.
All right, now we have Ms. Louisa calling from New York. Welcome to Straight Talk with Dean and Mark. Thanks for holding on the line. You are now on the air, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you?
How are you? I'm doing good, Louisa. Pleasure to get a chance to talk to you again. Like I said, we read very briefly when you were on Shree's show with the New York Times, where every Sunday they read the New York Times and discuss the New York Times and just have conversations. And at that time, you and I believe it was your husband were talking about the art show that you have that's going on. I don't know if that show is still up, so I just wondered if you could talk to our listeners a little bit about your art career and how you got involved with art, because you've been in New York for a while, but you are not originally from here. You actually moved here from another country, if I remember correctly.
Exactly, correct. I moved 5 years ago from France, from Paris, and I'm really happy to be in New York. And so I'm going to introduce myself. So my name is Louisa L. I'm the visual artist, and I would love to share you my story, how I decided to create New Yorker a year ago.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, so New Yorker started a year ago. So I woke up one morning and I had my epiphany. So I knew I needed to feature 10 exceptional, powerful, diverse women who never give up and believe in themselves. So, of course, my mother always been my model. So I wanted the new generation to be inspired by these amazing ladies and what I created and what I always wanted to do for others. So I decided to make that project. I did my show. It's already done at the hotel. We did a couple of shows, one in a private company called Voya, and of course 2 weeks shows at Art House Hotel. Was an amazing experience, was really successful, and I was so happy to see a lot of people coming to me and say, what's next? And so why I decided to make this project happen, because I really wanted to show how is New York today, and I wanted to tell the world as well that the real New Yorker exists, and they're normal people, and they're all immigrants, and of course myself, I'm still an immigrant. And I think diversity brings connection between people, and it's so powerful. And I feel that with New Yorker, I found a new family, and I wanted the new generation to look at the painting, my painting, to discover the story of different portraits. So the new generation and everybody can recognize themselves through different countries they were coming from. And so what is really unique about New Yorker, it's you can see inside the canvas. It's an experience mixing with augmented reality and painting with mixed media. And so what I can say, why I decided to do that double experience with augmented reality and painting is because when I was young, I always wanted to speak about what Picasso mused, and I always wanted to know who was behind the canvas and inside the canvas. So I decided to make something happen through augmented reality, and it's an amazing experience. Like, so people, even if they've never been to a museum, they can say, "Wow, I know what artists can paint as a portrait," and that's it.
And you have a variety of portraits in your series, because, like I said, it wasn't just women from, say, Paris or women from Europe. It was a variety of women. I believe that was one of the people connected with S.H.I.N.E involved in that. I think it might have been Neil's wife or somebody that was involved. But it seems like you had different images from different parts of the culture of New York in New York Her. So it seems to me that you were trying to incorporate a lot of different images and different styles of people from different cultures.
Of course, I really wanted to see the modern world, the modern New York, and different countries like Afghanistan. I had featured someone from Afghanistan, someone from India, like Three's wife. I feature a French, of course, lady, someone from Albania, someone from Puerto Rico, amazing woman, someone from Ivory Coast, Russia. So I had really 10 portraits, and a Native American amazing woman. And all these women, they're really helping others through their community, and they're helping to reshape New York as well. And I really wanted to give that testimony to New York, that this exceptional woman helping other women, and it's a gift for New York. And we need diversity. We need this kind of women to help the new generation and even New Yorkers to grow up in the city.
What was, when you moved here from Paris, what was one of the things that really surprised you about the New York environment? As a woman who moved here from Paris, what was one of the things that surprised you about New York that you were not expecting? Like, a lot of people are surprised by the tremendous amount of people, but Paris has a tremendous amount of people. So what was one of the things that really surprised you about New York that you were not expecting?
Okay, when I arrived in New York, I love the energy. I think it's really community. New York is really a place where you can speak with different populations, different people. You can share your story. You can bring to others as well, help, and you can give a smile to anyone you didn't even know. And I think the mixture of culture is so powerful, and the diversity, of course, and so that I really, really, really enjoy being a New Yorker as well myself. So I can say, I mean, New York is really special for me, and you can't compare Paris to New York. I think it's very open. It's an open city, and people are really open-minded as well. They understand everything, even if New York is hardest town. Everything is possible. What I love is everything is possible.
So do you think that's more the case here? Do you think that's more the case here than it is, say, in Paris or London or some of the other places?
I believe, yes. As far as I'm concerned, yes. Just for an example, so when I was in Paris, of course, I here it's really easy to be an artist because you're free. You don't need to think about your age. You don't think about, the diversity. In France, you have to be. You can't go back to school when you after 25 years old, especially in the art world. And I think it's completely different. And New York is such. I think it's a powerful place for artists like me. And you can see what I've done in 5 years. I'm quite impressed doing charity shows for, for HIV community and selling